What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a Wednesday night edition of your favorite Philly sports talk. That's right, we are fourth and go. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Marc Tomasini. Can't wait to rock the next hour of talking Philly sports talk. All the good stuff going on, and plus a whole lot more. We got some NFL news. We got some NBA talk. We got a little bit of MLB, maybe a glimmer of hope, but it could have got squashed this afternoon. And then obviously we'll see which way we go. But let's open it up with my man Marc. How you doing tonight?
What up? What up? Unlike baseball, we're here for you.
That's it.
That's what they do. The MLB's not there, but we are giving you the premium content every week. Fourth and Go Radio on Heat Ratio. Listen, we got a whole lot to delve into, but MLB they're I'm telling you, they want to go 6 feet deep. Now let's go 12 feet deep. They just double down. It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad. I thought they were getting a little closer when the MLB said, "Hey, I'm not going to cancel any games. We're good," and then that's it. They canceled 2 more weeks, 2 more series.
Yeah, there is something about 25 games that I think the owners are willing to let it go 25 games. There's some kind of stipulation that they don't care as long as they play the rest of the season, but players are going to be pissed now. So
they're not getting their salaries.
Yeah,
it's going to be all screwed up. But you know what? These I already ranted about it last week. They pissed me off. So whatever. I'm done. Whatever. They can do what they want now. It gives me more other sports to talk about, and that's what I want to open up with tonight. Let's switch it up, remix it. I know the last few weeks we've definitely been Sixers-centric, Sixers-heavy, City Edition. As I got the ball behind me. Wait. There it is. Yeah, and then you're obviously the Harden jersey. Loving it. But let's talk some NFL, and let's immediately dive in to the quarterback carousel. Yes. It is NFL and what has happened in the past 2 days. I will say we're going to rock off all three. And let's start with Aaron Rodgers. He has decided to take a historic amount of money and stay in Green Bay, and I am surprised. I will be honest. I thought that dude was deuces from the door. I know he was gone. But what he told me was, I'm not going if you give me that much money. And I get it. It was more about the cash to him than it was about a lot of other things, because all this bullshit that he's been spewing for the past 2 years really all came down to money. It wasn't about who's GM, who's pissing him off, who's getting him in, who's not drafting this guy. Why did you draft Jordan Love? Cut my contract short. I need, 23 to be an option year or an out year now. It was all about the money for him. And I didn't really read those tea leaves, but he's staying in Green Bay. 2-3 more years of them losing. Go ahead.
The only thing is I'm still a little perplexed because he then tweeted out like an hour after the news broke that the deal that was signed, he didn't sign yet. And but he did confirm that he was returning for this season.
Yeah, I don't know if you can sign the deals yet. That might be why he's saying it. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe there's other kinks that they have to work out in the contract negotiations, and maybe they agreed in principle. But yeah, he did say that he hasn't signed anything yet. So, but he did say he's definitely returning. So at least we know that much.
Yeah, you have to give him credit that he made an announcement now instead of he did say he'd make it quick. So I guess I'll give him that credit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I was saying previously, that I think it makes sense for him to stay. As much as going somewhere else would be attractive, he still kind of has one of the better situations in a wide open NFC. It really doesn't make sense for him to leave, and and now we're going to look at the other things that go into. But I mean, they've got a good setup. They've built on the defense. I think it could get a little better, and probably could use another offensive weapon or so. But I mean, they're pretty locked and loaded. He's just got to not check out of playoff games.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen. So I'm not even worried. He stinks, man. Hey, I've been so off on him. I've been calling his, bluff his whole career. And, he can go have his 50 mil and go ruin that team. You want all this, and I realize his cap hit actually goes down a little bit this year. I get it because they're going to need that to sign his boy Devontae Adams. But he he absolutely checked out in that playoff game this year. He was like, his eyes were rolled in the back of his head. He had no effort. And how can you trust Aaron Rodgers has lost more home games as a quarterback than I can remember from a great quarterback in my life. He's a fraud. And go ahead, take your 50 mil. I don't care. I really don't. I don't think he changes the landscape. They'll win 13 games and lose.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense, and he has such a home field advantage, and he's been there for so long, and yet still, I mean, San Francisco had no business winning that game, and yet they did. But so,
yes,
So
well,
the least surprising of everything that's gone on so far.
No, that's right. So let's go to the probably biggest surprise, and to me, we're going to Russell Wilson now. Russell Wilson moving addresses to the Mile High Stadium over in Denver from Seattle. And what was a big blockbuster trade. And I tell you, there has to be coincidence that this trade happened hours after Rodgers agreed to his deal with Green Bay. They say they weren't, playing with Rodgers. They said they were working on this one the whole time. Bullshit. And that's fine.
How do you hire Nathaniel Hackett and then not work into the Rodgers situation?
Right, and that's only my second bullshit of the show. I'm gonna have a few more, but I just think they moved on once they saw Rodgers go. They said we're all in, and there's news today that we got a little what up in there from my man Adam C. Yeah, we didn't get out to steam last night. I didn't see your message until late, but definitely gonna get up there one of these days soon. But yeah, the news today was that the Commanders had at least 3 first-round picks out there. So I guess it was more important to the Seahawks to try and get something back like Drew Lock. I don't believe in Drew Lock, but that's the only – I don't know how else you read this thing. What did they get? 2 first-round picks, I think, back in this deal?
Yeah, they got 2 first, 2 second, Shelby Harris, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and a 4th. Or no,
I think it's a good package. I actually do. I read a couple articles online, one out of ESPN that says, what are the Seahawks doing? But I actually think it's a good move. I mean, Russ is what, 35? 33. Okay, yeah.
But, I mean, it's, there's wear and tear, but he hasn't been too terribly injured. I think the way he plays, he preserves himself. So I think that it makes sense for Denver to do what they did. I mean, they gave up all their capital that they have. But, when you look at it, Seattle now, they can do a multitude of things with this. They could go in another direction of somebody that could become available, or they could just load up and take a chance on somebody this year. And then they still have it, so they'll have a couple first, a couple second.
Pick 9, right?
And they pick 9.
So really, they're going to be in a position to draft the first quarterback.
Yeah.
They are. Washington's at 11.
Right.
So that's one they had to leapfrog. But after the news that we'll talk about in a minute, they might not have to worry about that too much. But at least that's where they were playing. But then you got the potential of Bryce Young, Alabama's Heisman winning quarterback, CJ Stroud, Ohio State's fantastic quarterback, and some other good names. You got to. I don't know. I think they could just say, hey, let us. They're in a division where they're really stacked, right? You got the Rams, the Super Bowl champs, the Niners are looking really good. They were in the NFC Championship. Cardinals, jury's still out.
Right.
But still double-digit win. So, I mean, the Seahawks could be looking at this as a total tear-down rebuild and maybe go all in for one of those two. I don't know, but at least they have the option at 9 to –
right.
Is it Pickett or Willis? And they could choose.
They absolutely could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting situation for them going forward.
So who wins the trade to you?
Honestly, I mean, it's really hard to say who wins the trade. You look at the Broncos, and they were a quarterback away. Now they have the quarterback, but even looking at that, I'm still not 100% fully convinced that they're just magic. They're magically going to be up there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't know if not that it's not enough. I mean, they have great receivers. The offense is good. defense is good. You could potentially get Von Miller back and so on and so forth. And that just having Russell Wilson there, they'll probably, if they still have some cap space, will be able to attract some kind. I mean, they have good running backs and Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. But they haven't played together yet. Like, you don't 100% know that it is just going to work like that. So I can't fully dead on say, like, I think it was worth it for Denver to make that move. They needed to. They've been not a quarterback forever. But I mean, you also just gave Seattle a lot to work with. If Seattle doesn't sell off the rest of the team, and if they do make a trade for a certain somebody, which people are starting to allude to, or, if they hit on a Willis or something like that, I mean, it's really, I think, a pretty even trade. Crazy as it sounds with how much Denver had to give up.
Yeah, typically you don't necessarily win these trades when you're giving away all these picks. I mean, you typically, there's been very few instances. Usually the player returning wins the trade. And that's just more often than not, picks don't pan out. We can go back to the Herschel Walker trade that we talked about, way back when Dallas did hit and did trade Herschel to the Vikings, I think it was at the time, for a massive haul. But there's been stories of, some win, some lose. In this case, I'm with you. I think it's pretty balanced. I think, in the end, I think Russ could have demanded 3 first-round picks. But when you're also getting 2 seconds, you're getting the 2 first, now you're getting the 2 seconds and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I'm a big Noah Fant guy. I think he's good. I really do. But there's a Jerry Jeudy. When you look at Denver, I think could be a stud. I do think Cortland Sutton, really good player. They got the kid KJ Hamler, right, out of Penn State.
Yep.
You're well-rounded, and you already noted the 2 running backs. So I think they can make some things work in the passing game, even with the loss of Noah Fant. And so I think I could understand why they had to give that up a little bit, and I can understand why Seattle wanted that back. I think they're going to dump Tyler Lockett. He's a big cap hit, and DK will be interesting what they try and do with him, because I could see him going south. But in the end, I think Denver's going to be very good. And I posted their odds here. They're 1,200 to win the Super Bowl, 6th overall team. That's a little high for me. But people are trying to equate this a little bit to the Matt. I don't think it's quite Matt Stafford.
It's not. And also
the Rams
they were closer, and they even had to add during the season too. The additions of Von Miller and Odell Beckham definitely propelled them, I think, in the right direction. As surprising as it was, with Odell Beckham, people will be like, that really wasn't a big get, but it actually ended up being a really good get. It ended up paying dividends. But I'm not ready to say that it's a Matt Stafford edition, but it's recency bias, and everybody thinks that, well, just be like, they changed the mold. The mold was before get the rookie quarterback or a good quarterback on a rookie deal and put pieces around him and just stock up. Well, now the Rams go out and trade for a top tier quarterback, and then they put stuff around him, and they just traded away all their picks for that to happen. Now Denver, as you see, already took a page out of their book, and they're doing the same exact thing. They have no more draft capital, and they put it all in on Russ. They do have talent there. We'll see if it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. They've now leapfrogged the Niners, who were the NFC title game.
Right.
They leapfrogged the Dallas Cowboys, who were a lot of people's, Cinderellas last year. They thought they had a good chance, but they lost to the Niners. I can't see them being, like, let's be honest, they're not better than either of those 2 teams, especially in a division where you have to face Mahomes and Herbert. And then especially in the conference, when you still got a guy named Josh Allen laying around, and now you saw what Joe Burrow's all about.
Right.
You're ahead of the Bengals. If I'm looking at this right, the Bengals are plus 2,200. You're telling,
I mean, I think it's hard for a Super Bowl just for that team to get back to the Super Bowl. I get that. But it's hard, but that's a big jump to say that because you got Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson's also had a great defense, been in the league for God knows how long, and has only been to 2 Super Bowls. Should have won 2, but he only won 1.
Yeah.
Now, who's to say?
Yeah,
it's not like adding Tom Brady to your team, because Tom Brady is the guy who just does it. He lives in the Super Bowl, but who's to say?
And I think it's disrespectful them leapfrogging Baltimore and Tennessee too. Only good thing, I mean, Russ is good. Don't get me wrong, and he's really good. But he's not coming to a Rams situation. Another fact of the matter is, it's going to be really a hard. They're going to be playing on the road a lot. They do have a great home field advantage there. Mile High is fantastic, but I just don't see them being a team that's in the top 2-3 in the AFC. Gosh, 1,200. I think that's so poisonous. I don't touch it. So let's talk about the news that just went down today.
Yep.
Your boy, and I mean, I felt bad for you when I heard this. Carson Wentz, he's on to his third team in 3 years.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, all right, good.
I'll be okay. I'm not crying. It's all right.
Yeah, I thought I saw it too, but all right. Listen, it might have been your beer.
It's the light.
Yeah. But poor Carson. Kicked off another team. Glorious. Indianapolis, where he was posting all these beautiful things about how they're all together and singing kumbaya. Well, they didn't kumbaya you. They kicked you the F out, is what they did.
Literally, Carson wanted to go talk to Jim Irsay, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not clearing the air.
I'm busy.
I got a massage, Holmes."
Yeah, the good one. But listen, he's out. He's to the Commanders, and the Commanders. I would say, what the hell are they thinking getting this guy? But I'll also say this: they do have Taylor Heineke, and they know they can only get so far with him. Fitzpatrick was just, unfortunately, I think it's over for him. I mean, he's just about 40. The injuries, he had like a hip dislocation, something crazy. They're not going to win without a quarterback. They get it, and now they see this potential here. What it really tells me, to be honest with you, is that the quarterbacks coming out in this draft are turds.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you're not going to take one at 11, and you'd rather take Carson Wentz for a couple second round picks and maybe 2 seconds. Right now, it's a second and 2/3.
Yeah.
I think you're giving up quite a decent amount for a guy. Now, you've seen him, and he's done some magic. Some of his best magic's been against the Redskins.
Yeah.
Commanders. But I still think I don't blame the Commanders for trying, but I also don't think he's a loser. Let's be honest. Carson Wentz is a loser.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is everybody's been talking about Mitch Trubisky, Jameis Winston. They're all going through like the rounds, but at least they're free agent deals, and you wouldn't have to give up any picks to do it. Where this was kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to them getting ousted by the Broncos for Russell Wilson. And all the talk is saying that the Eagles and Commanders were the two of the other teams that made legit offers to Seattle, and they said we're not trading him in the division. And Russell said, "I only want to go to Denver." Apparently, those are the words on the street in regards to what has happened. So I just think like you really weren't in competition with anybody for Carson Wentz, and I think you're just like, oh, that happened. I gotta go.
He would have got cut.
Things, yeah.
He would have got cut.
Yeah,
they were not keeping that dude. It was over.
No,
and so I'm with you.
I think knee-jerk reaction, and they felt like they had to do something. They can say, "Oh, we went out and got somebody one," and they said they weren't waiting for Jimmy G. And who is the other one? Is there somebody else? No, I think they felt like
Deshaun. If
but I don't think they weren't ever linked to him. But yeah,
no, and I was reading something today. I don't know if I have it on here, but after they offered the 3 to, after they didn't get Russell Wilson, talking about the Commanders, I think they started with the Colts with a 4th and a 3rd. And somehow it ended up being a second.
They got to drive it up. Yeah.
Oh, my God. The guy was going to get cut. Listen, the story behind Wentz, and they're saying it in Indianapolis, is that he lacked leadership. Ooh, surprise. He had resistance to hard coaching. Ooh, another surprise. Wow. Groundbreaking news, Colts fans. You were all tweeting out last year how you ripped us off. And he had a reckless style of play. No shit, Sherlock. Like, no shit. This is what he does. 27-7 was a mirage. He threw for like the least yards per game as a quarterback.
Right.
He blew their season apart, but not just on the field. As you read these things here, he had a guy in Frank Reich that laid it all on the line for him, and he still would not take tough coaching, and he still would not lead men. Guy's a fraud. He's an absolute fraud, and he will not be in the league much longer. He's going to just go plow those fields, go shoot those deers and the ducks up in North Dakota because it's over, man. The book's out.
Yeah. Yeah, the book's out. I mean, it doesn't make sense. He was given all the talent. You saw what he could do in 2017, that MVP year. It's just like if he just listened to coaching, if he just took criticism, if he just took accountability, and he didn't have to go above and beyond. If he just did what he was supposed to do, could have been a great coach. He would still be here. He would still be here. But John McMullen, somebody, a local writer around here said, the one thing I take away from Carson Wentz is that, boy, John DeFilippo was a good quarterback coach. And that was the last time that we saw him play well, was the last time that was his quarterback coach. And everybody were alluding to it being the mix of Reich and DeFilippo, that tandem, besides Doug.
Yeah. So, and then Doug, when he gave him a little grief and pushed him a little,
recoiled.
He recoiled. And some of the, our memories looking over on, the sideline, is Carson Wentz looking at a book by himself or looking at a tablet by himself.
Yeah.
Dude, that dude was always by himself, which just showed you his leadership style was awful. Look, you don't have to tell us, Adam. And you're right. You're 100% right.
I was thinking the same thing earlier when we were talking about it. Just you were saying right when you said he had the lowest amount of yards. Yeah, because they relied on Jonathan Taylor.
Well, they did. They relied on him because that's who they trusted. They didn't trust the quarterback. And the craziest part, and you're so right, he had Jonathan Taylor to help him out. Throws the 27-7, which is, I think 27 was the second most touchdowns of his career. 7 interceptions, was cut in half from his year with Philly. He had 14, but he was still trash. And he had all this and still couldn't find a way to make it work. I know they struggled a little bit with the receivers. Pittman's decent, T.Y.'s on the back end, but still, he had all this around him. He had all the supporting cast. He had all the reasons to go into Indianapolis and, play his balls out, right? Because he was traded and he had to, re-image himself, and he still couldn't do it.
And Midwest, it's more his speed. It's not the scrutiny of Philadelphia. He had everything in his favor. He had 2 tight ends in Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox. You said, he had Hilton and Pittman. He had Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack.
I like Mack. Yeah,
and a great offensive line, and he couldn't do it there. It just really
now he's got Terry McLaurin, and I have no idea what else. I know they signed Samuel, but
Antonio Gibson.
Yeah,
but they don't have an offensive line, so that's going to be treacherous for him.
I'm a little on the Antonio Gibson. Plus, he can't pass the running back, so
right. So it doesn't really matter.
Gibson has fumble issues. That's why I'm off. Not that he's not a good player.
No.
He had some fumble issues. So it will probably be that Washington's in the market for a receiver at 11 now, which makes it a little bit piss me off, but one last point from Cease. I don't disagree, but I've seen small town guys make it in big cities before.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. I just think this guy, some of these, you're coddled your whole life. You're told you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, and you can't take criticism. And
he can't relate to others if they're not in his same frame of mindset. He can't relate to others, and that's what
just say
what's been found out.
If you're not preaching with him in the locker room, then, if you're not in that same
not his time,
Yep.
Bible book, Bible reading, not just
That's
generalizing.
why Troy Smith liked him.
He only can see his perspective. He doesn't see the others.
Zach Ertz. I mean, a lot of the guys, there are people that liked him, Kelsey, but the guys, he was not a leader of men. He was a leader of the people, like you said, that he liked, the people that he fit with. But yeah, Cease, to your point, the small town thing, it will be a knock on him. It absolutely will be, and it's 100% true. He just couldn't. He didn't know the world.
Yeah,
and he wasn't ready to learn it.
Yeah,
he was only ready to learn what Marc.
He's not ready to learn anything. He knows what he knows, and that's it. And that's how he's going to go about it.
And I'm loving it. I'm loving that Carson Wentz is out of here, and I'm just loving that. I'm fine with him in Washington. I ain't worried. I ain't scared. So let me ask you this: NFC East next year. Who you got as odds-on favorite right now?
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm still with you. But here's the one caveat I have on the Cowboys. Cooper will get cut. They have to make some big decisions this offseason. It won't be the same Cowboys from last year. They have some huge salary cap implications. And that defense still sucks, I think.
I just think you look at all the other teams around them, including the Eagles, and I just don't think anybody can really compete with them. I mean, it's Dallas's to lose.
I'm okay with that.
Always Mike McCarthy's the head coach. Like, you always know there's that possibility. And I forget if I was talking to coworkers about this or it's all Mike McCarthy. Like, I think if you had if they had a Sean Payton last year.
Well, he's there next year.
No, I know. But I'm saying last year, like this past season, like a good coach, like does the right things and they really should have beaten San Fran. And it's funny that, we're looking at this and the Cowboys with all that talent, they still can't do anything, but it's all coaching. It's all coaching. They haven't had coaching for years. And
that's why they might be better, but they're no threat. It's weird, right?
They're not a threat in the conference, but I just think for me, it's the Cowboys to lose.
Yeah, I got the Eagles second still. And for me, I do have Washington third right now. I think as bad as I believe Carson Wentz is, he's this much better than Daniel Jones. And if they go try and get Mitchell Trubisky too.
That's what I was just going to say. They're having a quarterback competition.
It might even grow that much. Like, he stinks too. So the Giants are a brutal mess. I'm a little bit skeptical on Brian Daboll. I've liked what I've heard and everything about him. Don't get me wrong. You're just walking into. I've read a lot about the front office of the Giants, and
to be.
Yeah, it's a lot of what's the term I'm looking for? They're using a lot of family business. Put it that way. Yeah, and they don't tend to cut the right people out when they're making it. So I don't know. He could be a great coach and set up for a bad situation. But I do agree with this point. I'm talking now today, but we got some free agency on the rise, and some moves that are still to be made. And the draft, Eagles absolutely could be, but it's three pieces on the defense at a minimum before we can even talk that we're going to be there to compete with the Cowboys. So if I can see those three pieces, we got the cap room, we got a lot of good things in place. One of my guys that I like, Jesse Bates, tagged.
Right.
The safety out of Cincinnati.
We're looking at Marcus Williams and Justin Reed. They're like the two big name safeties out there right now.
And I'm okay. Give me one of those. I'd be very happy. But we got to start safety. We got to get D-line help. And it has to be linebacker for once in our lives. Please, linebacker. But right now I'm with you, Cowboys. Let's talk free agency because Cease just kind of teed that up for us. Hearing anything? I mean, I know we got I think we're 10 days away. But
legal tampering starts a week from today.
Yep. And then the signing period starts Sunday or something like that after that. Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, something. Like, I think it's I thought it was like 5 days after legal tampering starts. So if that's the case, it might be Monday. But
Monday.
I think. Yeah. In regards to the Eagles, nothing to Justin Reed has been a name that they've been tagged to.
Yep.
the safety out of Houston. A couple of big names that have come out. I don't know. There's some person who is in association with both Marcus Williams and Bobby Wagner, the Seahawks linebacker who was cut just last night because it looks like they're going fire sale. That they could be, tied to the Eagles. We'll see. I don't think much of it. You never know. It's just a personality, but it's a verified personality, but it's not whatever. But he's like, this guy's gonna look good in Eagles, blah blah blah, blah. And like, he follow each other and whatever. You get Marcus Williams and Bobby Wagner on defense, definitely make things a lot better. Bobby Wagner, obviously they cut him, but he's coming off like one of his best seasons as a linebacker, so we'll see. That would be interesting. In regard, Allen Robinson has been floated out there. Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju was. I don't want Juju. I'll be honest. Juju to me is like and I'm sure Allen's can be that now too. Is more of a possession receiver, and I don't hate that.
We just don't have a threat at this point.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, where else they could really go? It's going to be tough. It just seemed like the market kind of fizzled out. Like, tag day was yesterday for people to place franchise tags, and Harold Landry, the linebacker from Tennessee, was out. Wasn't tagged, but then they gave him a 5-year deal last night. That's somebody I remember when we were doing the draft show at the other station a long time ago, a couple of years ago.
Boston College. Yep.
I think that it was during, I think you were talking, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I remember Harold Landry being drafted at that point.
The Green Turtle. No, we did it at
No. The FOP.
That FOP. Yep. The police.
Yeah,
yep.
It was a fun night.
It was.
But
small hands.
Yeah, small hands. But Harold Landry was one, and then another player who I had my eyes on, Mike Williams. They didn't tag him. They then signed him to a 3-year, $60 million deal. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for somebody who can't stay healthy. But would have been nice to have a big receiver like there who can stretch the field for his size.
So are you coming around on Team Gleckner and saying, let's draft a receiver, or you still want one in free agency?
Oh, no.
Well, first round receiver. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. If you're going to use all 3 picks, you absolutely have to take a receiver.
Yeah, good.
There's receivers there to be had. I'm trying to think. There's a lot.
I don't think Drake London will be there. He's my favorite. But there was news that the Arkansas guy.
Traylon Burks, but he didn't test as well as they thought he was going to test.
Yeah, he'll do a pro day though.
That's that's always a boom or bust scenario with a guy like that because he's not coming from the big school. I know he didn't have anybody throwing to him.
Well, 2 years ago, Felipe Franks, again, nothing I believe in, but half NFL talent.
Right.
But and then I think you'll get a choice at your Ohio State receiver. I do think Olave may slip to there, and I think you got, what's the other one? Wilson. Yep.
Garrett Wilson, I think.
Yep. And then I probably back off the Alabama receiver that tore his ACL, Williams.
Jameson Williams.
Yep. I probably back off that one a little bit. I just not that I don't think he can return. That injury is easy to return from anymore. I think he's maybe an inch taller than Devontae, but very similar. And so I'm looking for a little bit more physicality. That's why I like London and Burks a little bit. And I would even Olave, I interest me as well too.
So I would be that especially if they're using all 3, I think you definitely have to go wide receiver.
Yeah, and then I read it was McShay came out today, and Lloyd dropped to 15, and I was partying. If we can get Devin Lloyd at 15, I'm
Oh, absolutely.
I'm shooting fireworks. I'm telling you right now. As much as I want Nakobe Dean, I think he's more like 25, 26. Lloyd's that more sideline to the sideline guy that we just never have had.
Never had it.
You know what Devin Lloyd would feel like to us? James Harden. It would feel not like that good, but we'd actually have a point. Now we have a point guard that can actually pass and shoot.
Yeah.
We'd have a
linebacker that can control defense.
Yeah. Oh, man, it'd be so nice. So, all right, that's enough Eagles talk for tonight and NFL talk. It's been a crazy few days, and it's going to be a lot crazier over the next week or so, as you said, as free agency starts warming up. I did hear those names, as you have heard. I've heard a few others out there. Nothing that'll, we'll go wow on. Xavier Rhodes, I've heard maybe to get in there, but he's 32 now. Always been one of my favorite physical cornerbacks in the league.
Right.
I even heard them talk again about Russel Douglas coming back after he had that miracle 12 games with the Packers. I'm sorry, I don't need it. I got bad Russel memories in my head.
Yeah, it's too soon.
Yeah, too soon is the right way. But hey, let's jump over to the other sport in town, the one that you're rocking, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. 5-0 after sweeping the Bulls, beating the Bulls, and then
5-0. Yeah, 5-0.
And then ending up in a sweep. But 5-0 now with James Harden in the lineup. We had a tough loss Saturday night to the Heat. A lot can go into that game. 82 points was disgusting. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But they were just 7 for 41, 7 for 42, something just outlandish from the 3-point line.
Miami was just making everything.
And they were. It was a tough one, but the Bulls game was something so fun, man. This team, and let me tell you, tell me your favorite moment from that game. I see you said you were at that game. I'll tell you mine. And there was a lot of good things. Maxi had a little off game until he scored late. But obviously, I mean, anything you can post up with Embiid in that game was fantastic. But James Harden, when he made that 1-3 early in the game, and it was only his 3 of the game, and turned around and yelled, boom! And just lit up the crowd. They were a little slow getting off early, as they were in the games earlier in the week. I really love to see. I think he had about 5 or 6 dribbles between his legs before he stepped back and stroked that one. And it was awesome. It was awesome. Dave Green, what's up, my man? Hit good on Mizzou earlier tonight. Let's try and get some Utah action in some college basketball later. Big West Virginia fan there too, Dan. Congrats to your team getting a win tonight. But what was your favorite from the Bulls game the other day, Marc?
I gotta say it's kind of an underrated moment, but it's a moment that's been shown. I think when Harden got the pass to Thibault and Thibault skied in for the dunk, like kind of a little before the foul line. It showed his athletic ability. But when Harden goes like this, that's me saying, like, look, I'm going to get it to you. You just got to make it happen. Like, I think that was kind of like a sign. Like, and this is truly part of the reason why Harden was brought in here too. Like, I think it was like part of his job, him coming in here and putting his worth to get others involved. And that's what he's good at doing. He's good at getting other people involved. And Thibault's points per game has gone up in these 5 games that Harden has been here because he gets him involved. And just like that little pass was like, yeah, I got you, dog. Like it's nothing. Like, just I'll make it happen for you. Don't worry, because the thing is, like, Harden didn't have to shoot the lights out of the building. Like, he didn't have to do that. Sometimes I think there's going to be, times when they are going to rely on him, but you don't have to, and he still has just as big of an impact.
Yeah.
I think it was just a moment I got this. Just go. I'll get you the ball. Don't worry about it.
I love it. He had a couple plays early to Thibault too. I mean, all throughout the game where he really hit him through the seam. Matisse went to the line a couple times based upon those dishes, and a couple times he had dunks and layups, like you said. Embiid's big dunk was just, I mean, there's not much more you can say about Joel Embiid. I had his over points that night, and it was a little blind faith with Vucevic out. But the fact of the matter is he's a machine right now. And we've seen what this team will look like with Harden and Embiid and everyone else surrounding him. And what they're going to look like is Harden's going to defer to Joe. He's going to run the show through Joe, and Harden's going to go when he needs to go. He went in the next game when he needed to go, making several layups. Embiid had an off night that night. But this night, when you're 15 to 27 and dropping 43, Harden didn't need to get in the way. And that's the beauty of James Harden. I really believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting it.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, Dan. He knows he makes Thibault better. You know who else he makes better? A guy that kind of irritates me, but I'm starting to get on his side. George Niang. He's making
I like Niang. I like the minivan. He is kind of the perfect player for James Harden. Like he benefits greatly off of him because he's just a pure catch and shoot shooter. That's it. That's what he's best at. I've seen him become a little more aggressive though, which is good. And he hasn't been making as many dumb plays. I'm kind of glad to see it. You need that off of the bench. Like we need him off the bench. Like that's, he's become a player that you have to bring off the bench.
Yo, Korkmaz had 0 minutes the other night.
Yeah.
It's Niang. I mean, Korkmaz is just gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, right just they need him, and that wasn't a matchup that they thought they could use him.
Yeah.
0 minutes.
Yep.
So it's Niang. It's Danny Green, but he broke that finger, man.
It's like lacerated finger.
Yeah, I mean, and then the addition of DeAndre Jordan, I thought was really interesting. Yeah. His first action into the game, they threw a lob, and he missed it, but they were like, "Yep, here we go. We're going back to the Houston days."
Lob City,
and you saw a couple other plays later in the game where Harden was kind of like instructing him, like, you weren't supposed to dive on that one. You were supposed to do something. You saw how they kind of got crowded in the middle. Harden got one stripped from him, went off his chest, went out of bounds. It was too crowded. So he'll get that going, and I think Jordan is going to be great for them. You saw more Isaiah Joe in this game too. That was interesting.
He did. Right? He took first minutes.
He did 4 threes. Yeah, I mean, he made one, but he shot 4.
Right. But he's getting some run.
But in the end, it's the squad, all right? And then we got a point here, and I think it's a valid point. I'll let you take this one.
I don't know. I haven't seen it enough yet. I feel like he hasn't done his part yet. I feel like he's still adjusting. I hope that's the case. I mean, at this point, I think we need every body that we can get. I think Tobias needs am I missing something? I mean, he only had 8 the other night. I mean, I feel like they've kind of had to, like, kind of what they're doing with Matisse. I feel like Harden's got to do with Harris right now. He's kind of got to, like, take him under his wing and be like, come here. This is what we're doing. And I was giving credit. Before Harden came here, I thought Harris was playing a lot better. Harris was giving you 18 to 20 points, like, in January. Like, it doesn't make sense that the floor spacing is opened up and now you're just missing everything. Maybe he's just going through a slump, but it just so happens to be the time that Harden comes and makes everything easier for everybody.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. That's why I'm glad you took it. 1 for 12 from threes in his past 3 games.
It's been
his shot is always just so flat. And 1 for 12, when I say 1 for 12, he's open on all 12 of those. And that's the Harden effect. I know
that's this thing where he comes running up the floor, Harden gets it to him, and he, like, shoots into, like, he's moving forward. He doesn't just pop up straight up and puts it up. He's, like, going like that. He's leaping out.
He does.
It's a weird – I know that's been his shot, but it just doesn't – it's not fluid to me.
Yeah, so I'm probably in the lesser population. I think Tobias is the guy we need. As much as he may get on my damn nerves, and I may say some nights he sucks, and he does. He's soft. He's passive. There's going to be games that we need Tobias Harris, and you need that fourth guy, a fourth guy that's capable of scoring. I mean, he's averaging 18 on this year. What's his yearly? He's had years as high as 21. And his past 2 with the Sixers are almost 20. A guy that can score. I think we're going to need him. And so is he turning the corner? I'm not sure, but is it a guy that I need to be patient with? I got to be patient with him.
Sure. Yeah, we have to be, because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, this is a point that I actually want to bring up to you. So we're seeing the emergence of Tyrese Maxi. And he's been playing lights out for the most part. Like you said, he had a slow start the other night, but he can just turn it on in the third and fourth quarter if he needs to. Like, and that's a great thing about him. But you don't 100% know what you have with him yet. But what you're seeing so far is just, you love it. He's 21 years old. He's the second year of his contract. Like, still under control for the next 2 years. But you hope it's not a flash in the pan. I think we both talked about this, but I definitely thought Harden comes here. Maxi's going to take a back seat, and that's okay because it's James Harden. But he's almost he propelled them to that win the other night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He put the team on his back. He had 33 points. He played great. And there's a rumor that we've talked about once before, but it just got propelled again by Andrew Bogut, saying from people that he knows more that Beal wants to angle himself to Philadelphia.
Yep.
Embiid and Beal share Drew Hanlon as a trainer, who's like one of the best trainers in the NBA.
Yeah, he's got good
the way that he is. So they're close. And the rumor also that just came out recently is that Embiid really was pushing for Beal to be the guy that they got. Looking at it though, I love everything that Beal is, but Beal's more just an assassin and a scorer. What we're seeing from Harden has been crucial to this team, and I think that he's actually been able to be more of a facilitator. With that being said, Beal wants to come here and make a big three. So you have to offload Tobias's contract. Tobias then, they either do a sign and trade with Washington to bring Beal here. You're not just giving up Tobias. You're starting to give up your other talent, Maxi, Thibault, or whatever. Or you dump off Tobias to, OKC, but you're either going to lose Maxi or you're going to push him to the 4 spot. You can't move Beal to the I think I gave a little too much of my feelings away, but what are your thoughts? Would you do whatever it took to get Beal here?
Yes. And I'll make it the beauty of Beal is he's not this straight up ISO player. Imagine like Klay Thompson, right? Beal has had to do ISO. He's on a shitty team. But in the end, could he be a guy that just stripes up out there and takes, space away from Harden and Embiid? Absolutely. And could he be a guy that shoots 40% from threes? And that's a high target. But I believe in that offense, yes. Could he be a guy that could take over a game if you needed him to when the others were struggling? Yes. Is he better than Tyrese Maxi? I know people don't want to hear this. Yes.
Well,
so I would do what it takes.
Yeah, I'm interesting because to be honest, and I know this is weird for me to say, and it sounds like I'm being greedy, but I almost don't know if I'm not as sold into the idea of it just because of Beal's injury history and his age and what you have with Maxi. Now, here's the thing. Here's the good thing as to why I thought it was imperative that a deal get done at the deadline and not next season. Because you get to see, I think if Maxi keeps this up and is a legitimate part, and this is a legitimate big three, I'm sticking to the way it is.
Yeah, I think with a title,
if you can still pawn off Harris, right? And you can drop him off in OKC or something like that.
Yep, they will.
Kind of salary dump, take off an expiring salary, and then you open up that cap space to go get a decent, not an amazing, but a good 4, stretch 4, and you get another big bench piece next year. I'm in heaven.
So let me ask, Beal is a free agent, right? Or restricted? Is it restricted?
I feel like it might be restricted because I know there is the potential for a supermax for him.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be like a sign and trade.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. The sign and trades, you usually don't have to give back a ton, right? I would think that Maxi would probably have to be involved in that. Right. But I don't think you got to give Thibault and a lot of other pieces.
No, but even still, right. I mean, it's true. We gave, Jimmy Butler away for Josh Richardson.
Right. It's showing that he's got a contract for next year, but it's a player option, it looks like.
Option.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, he's UFA. So
I don't know. I'm just not. I was thinking about it, and I was just
he's
like,
a fit. Like he's that guy. Like there's guys that need the ball. I'm not so sure Bradley Beal needs the ball, at least not now, not in his age, not playing on these, bottom dweller teams. I'm not sure he so needs it. He's been with the Russell Westbrook. He's been with the John Wall. He's seen what the pain is of these guys that are very selfish. And I think he could accept his role here. And Tobias would have to go, though.
yeah,
Salary-wise and court-wise. Yep. He'd be the biggest take, I think. I biggest get. There's not a lot of instances where three work. I mean, think about the day with LeBron. I mean, you had Wade, Bosh, and him. So you had three really different players, right?
Right. But Bosh really wasn't as much of an offensive powerhouse, obviously.
No, but he knew his role. He was at stretch four and could play down low. Wade was that, power two. He didn't need the ball in his hands, and LeBron ran point. I'm just thinking some when you can. I mean, you struggle are the ones like the Durant, Irving, and Harden. Three guys that all need the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but talking about that,
I'm interested. I just want to see Maxi grow, and I think that maybe he could be, if he continues to excel. I'm really thinking hard about not pulling that trigger.
Yeah. Well, talking about KD, Durant, Harden, I got news for you. The Brooklyn Nets are coming to town. They're coming down tomorrow night as they enter the Wells Fargo. On a little streak, not really a streak, but they won one recently where Kyrie put up 50, and he's going to be able to play here in Philadelphia tomorrow night. And they're going to have Durant, and they're going to have pretty much their full outfit of players minus Ben Simmons, but he will support the team and sit on the bench. And I'm telling you, we're going to have some revenge parties coming up here very shortly as Wentz is in Washington now, but none bigger than tomorrow night.
Now, tomorrow night.
Ben Simmons is going to hear it, and he's going to hear everything he needs to hear and more. And he's not going to want to hear half this stuff. He better have earplugs in because he deserves – I don't condone throwing things. I don't condone physicality. But when you buy your ticket and you go in the game, I'm okay with you saying what you need to say. And to the stance – they're putting him out there for a reason. I've read a bunch of things that people are his agent really wants him sitting on the bench so that they can build their case to sue the Sixers and get back $26 million that they find and show how evil everyone is and no non-supportive and how he's playing in this place where everybody's horrible. I don't care. Do it 10 times over.
Yeah.
You're a punk. You're a piece of shit. And I'm saying it loudly and clearly. You faked everything. You faked everything from here on out. You don't want to play here because you're too goddamn soft. And I want you to hear everything that you deserve, making your $40 million, $30 million, whatever it is a year that you robbed from us. You robbed everything from us. We thought this could work, but you were too mentally soft and you were not good enough. You never transformed your game. And now you get to play with these cupcakes in Irving and Durant. Good luck, because they're gonna roughen you up worse than Embiid did. You think he was tough on you? You think Doc was tough on you? Wait until you throw one into the third row of the stands because you're sitting there taking off from the foul line and have nothing to do with it because you can't shoot.
Yep,
dude, you're a mess. And I hope you hear it all tomorrow night. I don't condone, like I said, violence or anything like that or physical, but let them hear it.
The embarrassment is needed. I'm not one for like really truly embarrassing somebody, but like I think he needs to be embarrassed. I mean, to get away with what he's done, to run your way out of town, get everything you want, blame it on us.
Yep. Blame.
Make us look worse than we already have a bad persona for, even though half of it is unwarranted. I mean, you had a lot of like I've said, I never was one who supported him for the most part. Like even though, I was like at times I was like, you know what? I hope he becomes a good player and it works out. But besides that, I mean, I haven't really been. But 95% of this fan base was all in on you at some point, and they were there.
Oh, yeah.
And even up until
we wanted to believe.
Yeah, up until the passed off dunk in the Hawks series, I would say 60% of the fans were 100% team Ben Simmons. He's going to do it, and making up for him and taking up for him. And, as time went on, fans started to see more and more what he couldn't do instead of what he could do. And to turn around and make this all, and to use the mental health thing, and he just went down a terrible road. And him, Clutch Sports, I mean, they should be abolished.
And let me tell you this. We've been right. We've been right almost every single time. We were right about Donovan McNabb. We were told he was going to kill us. Yeah, what a bad move to trade him in division.
Yep.
He got that one game. I don't know what he got against us, but he was washed up, gone. We were right about Carson Wentz, and obviously see. And we're right about this guy. He's a fraud. He's an absolute fraud with zero heart. And he did. I knew he would never play on March 10th. He said his post-game or his introductory press conference.
Yeah,
I'm going to play.
I hope so.
He wasn't.
When you say "I hope so," you weren't.
No. And look at this point by Cease. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have $5K to throw around, but if that's not a bad investment, that'll be a lifetime of memories.
I mean, I can only imagine what's gonna happen. I mean,
just saying,
they're gonna have security, and they're gonna make sure.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
What else were you saying?
Oh, you were breaking up again, Dave. Sorry. I think you're good
that's
now.
all right. It's all good. But no, I'm seriously, it's gonna be fun. If you got to pay $5,000 to listen to all that, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with it. But the whole thing is crazy to me that we're here at this point. But you know what? I'm glad that we're here at this point, though. Glad he's not here anymore. I was telling my friends, I was just saying how much I loathe him and can't stand him. And he's a little bitch boy and everything like that. But guess what? He's not our problem anymore. And that's the beauty of it. And we got a star in return.
So let me ask. LeBron or Ben Simmons? Who is tops on Marc Tomasini's most hated list?
That's tough.
It is.
It's Ben Simmons by a little bit, just because
for now
LeBron's actually talented.
Yeah,
LeBron is actually talented. I can't stand him for the life of me, and I'm so glad that he was never an option here. It was never going to happen here. And I never had to root for him, but I've had to root for Ben Simmons before, and it breaks me down to my core that I did.
Yep. No, I don't blame you.
That means a lot.
And the thing with LeBron is, and I'm not too far off from where you're.
They're the same people. They're the same person.
Yeah, but LeBron's way more talented, great player, guy. Mm-hmm. But just give it time, because Ben Simmons will be. Remember this time last year when we were talking about Carson Wentz and. Who cares? He went to Washington today. I mean, we care to rag on it, but that's what Simmons is going to be.
In 3 years, Ben Simmons probably won't be relevant.
No, not at all. But so tomorrow night, let's look at the big game. We got a few minutes left in the show, and it's huge, right? Because the Sixers, obviously, we talked about they're rolling. They're playing really well with James Harden. They've, I think, their lowest scoring output so far with Harden in the lineup was actually the Bulls game the other day, when they only put up 121. I say only tongue in cheek. 123 before that was their lowest. And now they get this Brooklyn team, who actually is a little bit efficient defensively, but it's a team that's fighting. They're 33-33. They're sitting in the 9th spot right now in the East. They have it's all or nothing right now for them. They're almost definitely going to be in that play-in tournament. But it's all about them trying to build this team up to be ready for the playoffs. And that's why now You're seeing pretty much them at full force. Sans Ben. It's a big game, and when you're against Kyrie, when you're against KD, and they still have those other forces out there, like Seth, who we gave away. Yep. And this isn't easy, man. I think this is a potential playoff series. I think tomorrow night's going to be a battle.
This is a litmus test game for them. It's a barometer game. It's a temperature game. They play the Bulls, but the Bulls have they're missing a couple guys, and even though they're still good, but the Sixers have had their number.
Yeah,
played because it's really only DeMar DeRozan. I mean, Zach LaVine just hasn't stepped up to the plate to where they.
Well, they just don't beat anybody good either. Like, look at the record against
the record. Yeah,
they're good against everybody else.
Right, and then they beat Cleveland, but again, it's still Cleveland's been a fun story and everything like that, but they still don't have any stars. And it's not that you have to have stars, but that they're just not good enough. The Sixers took care of business then. This is going to be a real, and this is. This has the potential to be something big. Even without Simmons, Kyrie and KD, you can't count them out at all with those two players. You saw that Kyrie can just put up 50 when he wants to. He did it against the Hornets, but, So we'll see. It's a big test for the Sixers. But I also like our chances, too.
I really do.
Yeah.
In fact, I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
like I'm itching for this game tomorrow.
Right, and they've already beat the Nets this year. Now Kyrie wasn't there,
right?
But we didn't have Harden.
No, and that was early in the season, right? And then we won.
They beat us and we lost, or no, they beat us, then we won one. I feel like there was one, and I think one game we played without Joe.
Right. I'm looking at the January games. Because that's where I remember we played. Okay, we didn't. It was early in the season. I'm sorry. We had a game. The Nets beat us there by 9, and then we beat them there by 8. In the game that they beat us by 9, you're right. Joe didn't play. That was part of his. I'm pretty sure it's part of his.
COVID.
I know he did play that game. He had a stretch there where he had that COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But he had 41 in that game when we beat him at home, and then. This is the last time we played them. So I remember the very, very first meeting of the season. They beat us. So they're up 2-1. That's when we just choked down the stretch. Yeah. Choked. We had that game in line. And I'm looking at it now. Yeah, they outscored us by 11 in the fourth and won by 5. So going to be interesting. But stoked. So excited for good basketball in this town. As you can see, everybody's going nuts. We got the Nets tomorrow night. Magic rolling to town on Sunday. And then it starts. You got the MVP game on Monday.
I'm going
here. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. And then we're out to Cleveland. Got the Luka coming in here. Shortly after that, Raptors, Heat, Lakers, Clippers. They got a lot. And this is perfect.
Yeah, it's really a chance to test them.
And I will say this in closing. Cease, I love the comment. Sixers by 10. They've been fantastic. They're 4-1 against the spread with Harden in the lineup, only losing by a point in that game against Cleveland. They're going to have value. I imagine they're going to be somewhere in the 5-point range tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not sure if we got an early line release. I'm going to look at it now, but if we did, I'm going to guess somewhere in the 4-5 range. Brooklyn still garners respect a lot around the league. Let's look if we got one for you. No, we don't have one yet. They tend to wait on some of these things with lineups. They don't want to take 4.5. Look, I wasn't far off. 4.5. 4.5. We'll see. But it's going to be fun, Mark. You know what's going to be fun? I got so much more coming up.
So much more.
Just, you get that dead period a little bit after the Super Bowl. We got through it, and it wasn't dead for us.
It wasn't now. Now, as a Philadelphia fan, with everything that's going on, it's soap opera. It's amazing. And, the Sixers are now legitimate. Like, they're the cream of the crop right now. They're the talk of the town. Like, everybody's taking notice. Everybody now is taking notice. After seeing Ben not be even ready close to play and the way that Harden and Embiid are playing together, the tune has changed nationally. All of a sudden, everybody put their glasses back on and realized, look what the Sixers have done.
I love it. I love it.
Now.
I love it. Times now. Got March Madness starting up. I'm a huge Nova guy. I spent some of my grad classes there at Nova. Spent some time. I actually have a friend that knows Jay Wright very well. I've been able to meet him. Cheering for Nova in this Big East tournament as they kind of hit their stride starting. I think their start is tomorrow. The very opening of the Big East will start tonight. Xavier Butler was one game. So it's going to be fun. We got great basketball coming up. We got great football talk. And if baseball ever hits, man, it's just going to be fun over these next few months. Man. All right, bud. Until next week. Well, we didn't get a dub tonight just because we didn't play.
We didn't play, but
we got a dub because we had a lot of great people checking in, having fun. Thanks for everybody that checked us out. As always, please, get in the chat. Talk to us. We're here for that. That's what we love. We're going to be out and about. We're getting big, man. Heat ratio. We love our people. We love our fans. We love interacting, and we love just bringing you the Philly 444 talk and that kind of just bar talk chatter that you just can get on your regular any day, but we bring it here on YouTube and everywhere else that we're published. Mark, you got anything else?
No, just booth through your TV tomorrow night. We got this.
I love it, and I'm going to take that action. I like that win by 10, but I'll post before we get into that game tomorrow night, and then maybe come Friday, if we get a little win, maybe we'll do a little 2-minute drill. I like it.
I like
Mark,
it.
Until next week, City Edition Mark, Eagles Edition Dave, we're 4th and go. Until next